live. So I'm Candace.
And I'm my friend Jenny, and we don't know if we were live till just now.
Well, it's okay.
Anyway, what we were saying was we think about setting a time, letting you know what time we're going to go live. But it's hard to do that too because we really don't know exactly what time we can meet up. So
we're doing all we can do to,
like she
get
said,
here.
That's right. We do it impromptu. That's
right?
What we do. That's right.
All right. So it is already 6:20. And I got to work tomorrow. She got to work tomorrow. And last time, we had us a great live. Eddie Ruth says, "Hey y'all, hey y'all." Okay, so first of all, this is a Daybell psychological evaluation.
Yes.
Kim Daniel says, "Hey ladies."
Kim. Hey
Tina Reddington says, "Hello, Tina Reddington." So first thing. We were sitting eating because we do have to eat because it's already 6:20. We had to eat, and we talk about what we're going to sort of outline for the live.
Right.
And I looked down and I said, oh my gosh, Nate Eaton just said that there was a Vine thing that went out about Lori, 911 emergency call, but he assures us she's still incarcerated in the jail. This is what Nate says. This is the second time, Language of Horses says hello. This is the second time that this glitch has happened. Jenny's not signed up for the Vine.
No, and now I'm probably not going to.
Yeah, well, the thing of it is, I want to ask everybody. Vine email came to me. Edie Ruth said.
She got it. Hey, Linda.
And my mom is watching. Yes. So, the thing of it is, this thing of knowing where a person is, we want to know because we're just intrigued with the case. But like, let's say you had a person who was being held who is...
Hey, KJ.
KJ says Lori is misbehaving. This is highly probable.
Oh, yes.
Highly probable. But let's say your person was in there for domestic violence or they had threatened you, and you get a Vine that says they've been released or whatever, and I'm sure to the victims' family members, they're signed up for these Vines. You get something like that, it just stops you in your tracks. I don't know. I know that Idaho has not had a big old case like this.
Oh, right.
But let's get the Vine right.
Yes.
No more glitches.
And so they feel that, so it is a glitch for sure. She's still incarcerated.
I cannot say for sure nothing. All I can say is Nate Eden reported.
Okay.
That she is still there. Now, he didn't say whether she did something and got in solitary confinement. We don't know these things.
She very well could have. I would say it's a high probability.
It's a high probability. Yeah, it's a high probability. She thinks she's of a certain status. KJ says she doesn't think it's a glitch. It may not be a glitch. It may be they don't want us to know what's going on.
Yeah. Because
so many people are intrigued by it.
Right. That's true.
I don't know. Time will tell. That's what I know. Time will tell.
That's right.
Also, there is going to be a sealed hearing tomorrow that John Pryor has called.
And why is it sealed?
Well, they don't want us to see it. They don't want us to hear it. And what it is about is that Judge Boyce does not want, he has sealed, and he has, how sometimes he'll reveal stuff to the public and sometimes he keeps it sealed. He has sealed this motion by John Pryor, I think, where he is like really going after Rob Wood and Rachel Smith. And John Pryor wants the public to see it because he thinks that it will affect, I guess, the jury pool or the mindset of people, or make the prosecution look weak. What do you think about that?
I don't know.
I say it every week.
I think that the prosecution needs to, I've said this, they have got to make a good case. They've got to make a good case. And I don't know that a sealed hearing is going to change that. Do you think?
No, I do not.
I think that's...
KJ says you girls look beautiful.
Oh, thank you, KJ.
Thank you, KJ.
But yeah, I think that it's not going to be in that's going to determine how well the prosecution does. It's going to be how well they tell the story and make the case to get justice.
All of this is a chess game.
That's right. That's right.
Language of Forces says she likes the prosecution team.
Yeah, I think a few more people joined on there that, look, I can't see. Can you see? Jen Marr is on there. Gallus 66. We said, hey, Language of Horses is on there. Tom Vaughn. Thank you all for watching.
Rude,
Cindy Sue.
Cindy Sue. Now, I do want to say something. We handled that little to the psych information. We do, as we are sitting here doing this, we record this for a podcast.
We do.
And it's on Spotify. Now, y'all have to tell us if y'all can see us.
Hey, Jennifer, can you see us?
It just said, reconnecting or whatever. But, I listened to it just to kind of like, just to hear ourselves, how it sounds, trying to learn and grow and be better, and I told Jenny, first of all, it's hilarious. First of all. Second of all, I cannot believe how bad them darn cars running up and down the road sound, Jenny. Yeah. It's horrible. I said, Jenny, we got to find a new place. We've got the windows up because it's 86 right now. It was 92.
It was 92, yeah.
So we do have the air on. You may hear my car humming, but we're just going to have to do that because I can't stand those cars, motorcycles, whatever. I don't understand it.
So if you've been listening on the podcast, we are sorry.
We apologize about that.
The sound, which your husband told us, the air. I mean, it is hard with the podcast because it does pick up everything. And I think when you're watching it on YouTube, you know what that noise is. And when you're listening to it on the podcast, you don't really know. Like you said, unless we mention a motorcycle going up the road or something like that.
Well, I think too that when you're watching us, you're like watching us and you're watching what's behind us and if we hit a bump. I mean, these are the things you're looking at. But when you're just listening to it, it's just that one sense.
That's true. That's true. Not multiple.
All right. Ladies, I'm worried. Mary LaSour says, is Lori going to go back to the hospital? I was watching Crime Talk and she seems to think so.
Oh, no.
Well, let's get in.
Not.
You know what?
And hey, flashback.
Let's do this. Let's get into the psych stuff.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think there's anyone out there who thinks that Lori or Chad Daybell are normal people.
No, that's right.
And I was thinking today, I was doing all this research for this. I was like, oh, well, no wonder I cannot come to the place to wrap my brain around some of this stuff they've done. It's because, I don't suffer from any of these problems.
This is true. This is very true.
Okay, so first thing we're going to talk about. Jen Moore says she's never noticed background noise. KJ is saying hey to my mom.
Yes.
Mom, I want you to know that because I don't know if you really can see that. So here we go. We're going to focus on these psych diagnoses. Now, as a disclaimer, we are registered nurses in the state of North Carolina. I'm not a psych nurse.
I'm not a psych nurse.
I have encountered psych patients.
I have as well.
We do work in a unit that performs ECT, which is electrical shock therapy, 3 times a week, right?
That's right.
Under anesthesia. When they used to do it back in the 60s and, it got such a bad name, they did not do it with anesthesia. So those people would break their jaws and have all kind of, very violent things, right?
Anymore.
Because they were it's inducing a seizure and it's trying to realign your dopamine, and it's majorly for people who are catatonic. Now that I have seen a catatonic person come out of it
from the ECT.
From the ECT,
yes.
That I have seen.
Yes.
Twice. I've seen it twice. Catatonic person, severely depressed people who normal medicine or the normal treatment has not helped these people.
Right. It's a last effort.
Yes, last effort. Well, they've tried all these things. Hasn't worked. they go to this.
Right.
So that's what ECT is for.
Yes.
You know, it's not really like a torture device.
No, it is.
It's
really,
not used like that.
That's right.
I think it had labeled like that.
Yes.
Like they would do that. So I just Googled, what mental illnesses do most serial killers have? Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to claim them. They're serial killers.
Yeah.
Okay.
They are.
So
Agreed.
this is the 4 type. There's 4. Antisocial personality disorder. Psychopath. Narcissistic, which I did not hit that one because we have covered that at nauseum.
And we do feel like that is definitely a diagnosis
Yes, we do.
that Lori has.
And paranoid personality disorder. I did not go into that one because I feel like they're not really paranoid. They don't feel like, I mean, they should have felt like the FBI is after them and the police are after them, but that's not why they did what the crimes that they committed.
Right.
Like aliens are after me or, you know, that sort of thing.
Yes.
So we're really going to focus on antisocial personality disorder and psychopathic
Okay.
and sociopath.
Okay.
Because they're kind of like, they're very close.
All right.
Now, I was listening to KJ and Krisha. Oh, I had it on, you know, and it's 2.5 hours. And I mean, I'm going to listen to the rest of it. But, you know, a lot of people, unless it's depression, most people, the psych words that they know are schizophrenia or bipolar, right?
Right.
So I decided to hit on what those are just briefly, just so that you understand why we really don't think that they match up in this area. Okay? So out of the DSM-5, which is the holy grail for psych disorders and mental illnesses, the following criteria must be met in order for schizophrenia to be accurately diagnosed.
Okay.
Individual experiences 2 or more of the following for a significant portion of time during a 1-month period. So you've got to have 2 of them, and it's got to be for a certain amount of time. Delusions, hallucinations, disorganized speech, which means incoherent or derailment. I call it flight of ideas. I have seen it in the flesh. The person that I've seen, I mean, changing ideas every 4 seconds.
Right.
And I mean like full ideas. Like so much that you can't keep up with it.
Right.
Okay? And they cannot help it. They're doing this. They're not under any medication, and they cannot help it.
Right.
Completely disorganized or catatonic behavior. Negative symptoms such as diminished emotional expression. They're not bathing themselves. They're not taking care of themselves. Or they're catatonic, which I have seen twice now, where they're literally like in a sleep state and you cannot get them to respond.
No.
Okay?
That's right.
Personally, again, I do not know, Chad and Lori, what their psych diagnoses are going to be, but I don't feel like that falls into any of them.
No, I don't either.
Okay? So then I said, a lot of people say schizoaffective, right? So schizoaffective is an uninterrupted duration of illness during which there is a major mood episode, manic or depressive, in addition to criteria A for schizophrenia. So you got to have the schizophrenia part, and then you got to have this, a major illness, major mood episode. And when they're manic, they can be like spending like thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, multiple sexual encounters. I mean, like they're not thinking like a rational person. I might get a disease. I might get pregnant. They're just doing it.
Right.
Okay. 2 types of schizoaffective disorder based on which mood disorder is involved. The bipolar type includes both. So if you're bipolar, you're both. It includes the dramatic highs, or what we call manic, or episodes, or lows, which we call depressive. So, I mean, I don't know what y'all think. but to me, I just don't think they fit these.
No, I don't think so either.
Okay?
I don't think that's one of their...
So, we're going to get into what we think they are.
Yes.
All right.
So, we have antisocial.
Read it from the DSM.
Yeah.
Is that from the DSM?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. It says the antisocial personality disorder. And that is diagnosed. This diagnosis is assigned to individuals who habitually and pervasively disregard or violate the rights and considerations of others without any remorse. People with antisocial personality disorder may be habitual criminals or engage in behavior which would be grounds for criminal arrest and prosecution. Or they may engage in behaviors which skirt the edges of the law. They did not skirt the edges of the law.
They broke it.
Yes.
They went on in and broke them all.
That's right. Or they manipulate and hurt others in non-criminal ways which are widely regarded as unethical, immoral, irresponsible, or in violation of social norms and expectations. Those with APD often possess an impaired moral conscience and make decisions driven purely by their own desires without considering the needs or negative effects of their actions on others. I mean, this has her written all over it, doesn't it? Well, him too.
Well, him too. Yeah.
Him
and
too.
the cult members.
Yes.
Can't leave them out.
That's right. Impulsive and criminal behavior is common. The terms
Psychopath.
psychopath,
Oh, psychopathy.
psychopathy,
Sorry.
or sociopathy are also used. In some contexts, synonymously, in others, sociopath is differentiated from a psychopath, and we're going to go into that a little bit more.
We'll go into that in a minute.
Yeah. The term. Go ahead.
Hold on. This part, buckle your seatbelt, because this is important. Pay close attention to this.
We're on this part, right?
The term, yeah.
Yes, okay. Look, this print is very small.
Do you need some glasses?
I'm okay. I'll be all right. I'm just going to hold it way out. So the term antisocial may be confused to the lay public, as the more common definition outside of clinical usage is an individual who is a loner or socially isolated. The literal meaning of the word antisocial can be more descriptive to both the lay public and professionals. To be antisocial is to be against society, against rules, norms, laws, and acceptable behavior. Individuals with antisocial personality disorder tend to be charismatic, attractive, and very good at obtaining sympathy from others. For example, describing themselves as the victim of injustice. Some studies suggest that the average intelligence of antisocials is higher than the norm. Antisocials possess a superficial charm. They can be thoughtful and cunning and have an intuitive ability to rapidly observe and analyze others, determine their needs and preferences, and present it in a manner to facilitate manipulation and exploitation. I mean, this is her.
When I was reading it, I was like, oh my gosh.
I mean, like I said, I am not a psychiatric nurse or a psychiatric doctor. But I
this
mean,
is their
this
criteria.
that's right. This sounds like a diagnosis she would probably have.
There's going to be some more key nuggets. Go ahead.
They are able to harm and use other people in this manner without remorse, guilt, shame, or regret. It is widely stated that antisocials are without empathy. However, this can be disputed, as sadistic antisocials will use empathy to experience their victim's suffering and derive a fuller pleasure from it. That's awful.
Now, you don't have to read that next part, because that's a part from a book
Okay.
that I think Edgar Allan Poe wrote or something, where about somebody
Right.
who is given actual information about that they are this and that they did something to somebody to get pleasure from it.
Okay.
They're suffering.
So they want to hurt others. and then they're gonna.
They get enjoyment from it.
It's terrible. So, symptoms and criteria for antisocial personality disorder. A, they have a disregard for and violation of others' rights since age 15, as indicated by one of the 7 sub-features. Failure to obey laws and norms by engaging in behavior which results in criminal arrest or would warrant criminal arrest. Lying, deception, and manipulation for profit or self-amusement. Impulsive behavior, irritability and aggression manifested as frequently assaults others or engages in fighting. I mean, she might not have done that, but she got him to do it. That's right.
Well, and it may not be actually fighting, but you antagonize
That's
people
true.
and get them all worked up. And
it doesn't have to be a fist fight. That's right. And she fought with Charles. I mean, because she was.
And Joe Ryan.
That's right. Blatantly disregards safety of self and others. A pattern of irresponsibility and lack of remorse for actions. The other diagnostic criterion are: the person is at least age 18, conduct disorder was present by history before age 15, and the antisocial behavior does not occur in the context of schizophrenia or bipolar disorder.
You already talked about that.
Yes. It cannot be diagnosed before age 18. So while an adolescent may display antisocial features, prior to age 18, if diagnostic criteria are met, the appropriate diagnosis would be conduct disorder. The annual prevalence of antisocial personality disorder is 0.02% to 3.3% when the criteria from prior DSM additions are applied. So there are risk factors.
This is where it's going to get good.
Okay. So risk factors for, I'm going to call it APD just because,
That's
so
fine.
I don't have to keep saying it. Are having a first degree biological relative with APD and being a male. So that's a risk factor. If APD is primarily genetic or a product of social learning and other environmental factors, has widely been debated by behavioral scientists. So they're not sure if it's something.
Well, we got Lori's parents, and we got Lori and Alex. I mean, it's a lot of.
Yes, that's right.
It's a lot of behaviors going on.
It is.
From the parents to now the children.
Right. A resting state functional magnetic or MRI study of 480 adjudicated antisocial offenders showed uncoupled connections in areas of the frontal and parietal lobes, which are associated with attention, self-regulation, the ability to control oneself, and resolve conflicts. It was noted that physiological and anatomical defects observed in the frontal parietal areas, as well as the cerebellum, may account for the chronic low arousal, high impulsivity, lack of conscience, callousness, and decision-making problems commonly seen in individuals with APD. There's also evidence that environmental factors, such as internalizing messages from antisocial peers or parents, are at work in APD disorder. One possible developmental pathway, if there are not appropriate treatment interventions, is ODD or reactive attachment disorder, and CD leading to APD. I don't know what that's about. It is comorbid with substance abuse disorder and other personality disorders.
Like narcissism.
Right.
Psychopaths.
Exactly. So the treatment, the DSM does not specify treatment options. So
It's no good
There's
treatments.
very little way for effective treatment.
It's no good treatments.
They may have to be contained by the criminal justice system or put to death is what needs to happen in these people's case.
And no glitches in the vines.
That's right.
No glitches.
That's exactly right. Through some combination of incapacitation or incarceration, supervision, and monitoring like parole, probation, or house arrest, or informal monitoring by local law enforcement to contain their harmful behaviors to others to the greatest extent possible. I mean, this just sounds like, which they don't need to be put out on parole or anything like that. They need to be
It's
under
Ron
the jail.
Hensley saying hello. Hello, Ron
Hey,
Hensley.
Ron. There are also cases of individuals with APD converting to religion and finding strong conviction with themselves to reform and successfully integrate with society. The role of religion and spirituality as a possible treatment for APD is not well studied.
I do believe that you could
well, we know the only way to fix anything like this would be,
go to
Jesus
therapy.
Christ.
Yeah,
That's right.
Jesus.
That's
and
it.
go to therapy and learn to recognize the behaviors, have accountability, and
Yeah.
there's hope for people that have that.
There
what I'm saying.
There is. And that's
You
the
don't
thing.
have to become a
with
murderer.
with all these diagnoses, there are people with these diagnoses that don't kill people. That's right. They function and they get the help they need, and I just feel like we want to make sure people know that we're not saying that everybody with this is a bad person, because that's not true.
Right.
Lori is a bad person. Chad is a bad person. And then they have this too.
That's
Right.
We don't know if Lori has this. We are just doing a psychiatric
guess. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, psychiatric guess. And we're just taking what we know, looking it up, and seeing if they match this. And then when we go to the trial and the forensic psychologist is up there that has interviewed them, they will tell us the actual diagnosis.
That's right.
And any treatments they were having.
Exactly.
But we are just educating ourselves.
That's right.
And our YouTube world about it.
That's right.
Hypothesis and theory, correct.
Exactly, KJ. Thank you. So, back to the treatment part. Incarceration may not be an effective deterrent.
Meaning if they were let out, they would do it again.
That's right. Because they have difficulty learning from mistakes. They are rigid in decision making and are typically unresponsive to punishment. A primary reason that individuals with APD are often non-responsive to punishment and deterrence is an inner belief system that views constraints and consequences as a rudimentary function of society, a group which they do not see themselves as a part of.
And you know that Lori said, none of this applies to me. I do not answer to the laws.
Right. And that's how she feels. That's exactly right.
Maggie says all more reason for the death penalty.
Exactly. The antisocial may see themselves as existing above or beyond society, and thus their existence need not be confined to society's limitations and restraints.
Like a body.
Exactly. Like she can
like
teleport
food,
and
like
whatever.
sleep, like an airplane,
Yes.
like a car.
It's crazy how it's like we wrote this as a description of Lori. And then it says, as a result, for many with APD, incarceration may only serve to reinforce their primary belief system and have little effect towards future deterrence.
she may never be healed.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
It was encouraged in their youth, yes, language of forces.
Yes. So, I mean, impact on functioning. They will typically have strong impacts on most areas of functioning. The APD will typically have strong impacts on most areas of functioning. According to the DSM, persons with APD may face incarceration as a result of their criminal actions, premature death from violence or accidents, or loss of assets or property from reckless spending. She spent other people's. Or civil forfeiture of assets. Divorce, separation, unemployment, financial dependency on state relief sources, homelessness, anxiety, depression, and suicide rates are all elevated in individuals with APD when compared to the general population. Antisocials also have the potential to cause great harm to those around them, including family, associates, neighbors, and complete strangers, through financial exploitation, theft, emotional abuse, assault, sexual assault, and homicide. And I think this sounds like Lori.
We will see. We will see. We don't know. We will see what the actual expert says as her psychological evaluation is said in court. Right. I can't wait.
Yeah, I know. Me either. I can't wait to see what they're going to come up with.
Yes.
So that's the antisocial personality disorder. And I find a lot of this interesting, but one thing is like the antisocial, where you think of an antisocial personality disorder, you would think of somebody that, is a loner, like this said. But no,
that's not what it
more
is.
Describes Lori. I mean,
it's just against society. But we use these terms.
Yeah.
That's why So we're all learning here.
That's
we're
right.
all learning, and so now we know. Now, if I hear antisocial again, I will know what it is.
Exactly. Well, let's see what a few people are saying on here. So Ron Hensley says she doesn't have to be healed in prison. They'll do that for her. That's right. Maggie Hoagland says she's spent, and she also has at least one bankruptcy. Oops. What did I do there? I don't know what I did. Hey, Angel.
Oh, you must have hit one of them buttons right there.
Yeah. Can everybody see me? I hit a button. I want to make sure.
It's getting too cold in here. It feels okay. No empathy.
Oh, thank you, Cindy Sue. She said everybody hit the like button. That's nice.
Very nice, yes.
And then Maggie Hoagland said, and she was glad her one attorney in Texas died because she owed him a bunch of money. Oh. And Angel says no empathy. That's right. She had none. So now we're going to talk about
sociopaths versus psychopaths. These, again, are terms that we say all the time, and I don't know that we are really labeling it correctly.
Right.
I do think in this case we are, but, sometimes we just say, oh, they're a psychopath.
They're a psychopath, and they made it. Yeah, that's right.
Sociopath versus psychopath. There are similarities, but lack of empathy is a notable distinction. The use of the term sociopath and psychopath can be confusing. Neither is an official diagnosis within the 5th edition of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, or DSM-5, if you hear us say that, the most widely used guide for diagnosing mental health conditions. Both psychopathy and sociopathy include traits that are incorporated into the official diagnosis of antisocial personality disorder. Psychopathy would fit into a subset of antisocial personality. Sociopath, however, is not considered a clinical condition by the medical community. I did not know that.
I did not either.
There is historical significance on how these terms have been used, and they are often confused with one another. Consider separate conditions instead of aspects of antisocial personality disorder, or used incorrectly by the general public. This article discusses the difference and similarities of sociopath and psychopath. It also explains these conditions, methods for diagnosing APD, and its treatments. The traits of sociopaths and psychopaths. No one is officially diagnosed as a sociopath or psychopath, but rather as having APD. Symptoms of APD disorder include a pervasive pattern of disregard for the rights of others, present since at least adolescence. It presents with behaviors such as disregard for social norms and laws, lack of guilt or remorse, repeated lying, impulsivity and irresponsibility, aggressiveness, disregard for the safety of others. Sometimes the term sociopath is used to emphasize the antisocial, rule-violating aspects of APD, and psychopath is used to emphasize the internal experience of the lack of remorse, pleasure in getting over on or inflicting pain on someone, and other emotional deficits. Although there is a lot of overlap in the way these terms tend to be used, psychopath and sociopath are sometimes considered as having distinct traits. Psychopathic traits, we have a conscience. A key difference between people considered sociopaths and psychopaths revolves around how they relate to moral behaviors and conscience, the part of a person that makes them feel bad for causing pain to another. Breaking the law, physical aggression, manipulation of others for personal gain, anger and hostility, unpredictable mood swings, impulsive behaviors, chaotic and dramatic life and relationships, exploitations of other people, irresponsibility, no guilt or remorse, feelings few, if any emotion, sadism, pleasure from causing pain to others, lack of care for others, not giving your child their medicine.
Right.
How about that? Pathological lying, charming personality, lack of fear, risk-taking behavior, unreliable in relationships, inability to love, no remorse for wrongdoing, poor judgment, lack of life goals. Now that's big. They don't, remember how we talked about that? They don't want their kids going to college. They don't want them to be better than they are. They just don't have no goal of doing anything other than getting over on people.
Right.
For instance, while sociopaths are considered to have a weak conscience, psychopaths can lack conscience altogether. Anger in relationships. People considered sociopaths are often quick to get angry and defensive when confronted about their behavior. They also have legal issues and unstable personal lives. Psychopaths do not typically explode under pressure. See, this is where I think we've got Lori in one column. I've said this before. Chad in another column. And when they came together, it was like the dynamic twins. Remember them? Saturday mornings.
Yep.
Wonder Twins. That's what I think happened. Okay. Back to the thing. Psychopaths do not typically explode under pressure. They might even underreact in dangerous or stressful situations, i.e., his phone call when they're pulling up the children's bodies in his yard. He knows what's going on. He knows it.
And she's just sounding like, like she's having a chit chat on the phone. But yes, that's right.
Psychopaths usually avoid getting into relationships, and the relationships they do establish are often for the purpose of using people for their own gain. I.e., Tammy's working her tail off. He's over here writing books, having affairs, traveling around, getting his pride all pumped up. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I do think that's Lori. I mean, every relationship she had was for something that for her own gain.
Yeah, these things weave in and out.
Yes, they do. Yes.
Signs and symptoms in childhood.
Here we go.
Certain childhood behaviors can be signs that a child may become a sociopath or a psychopath in the future. These include physical aggression toward others, animal abuse and cruelty. That's big. That's big. When I was in elementary school, there was a little boy we went to school with. He didn't make it long. He didn't live long till he was like a teenager because he was evil. He would set little kittens on fire. I'm not kidding. And when I heard that, I was like, he is a nut. Killing bees.
Yes,
killing hundreds of bees.
That's right.
And knows that bees are important for the world. Animal abuse and cruelty. Lying. Saying that you've had all these near-death experiences that you didn't have. Stealing. Consistently breaking the rules. Now, I'm going to say this. I thought about this today. I will be shocked if there is not porn on Chad Daybell's computer.
Yeah.
I'm being serious.
Yeah.
I'm being serious. I will be shocked. And I'm talking about long-term watching it. Destroying property. Are you born a sociopath or a psychopath?
Ron Hensley says, I get excited when you talk about stuff you experience, can dance, the Wonder Twins. That is great.
Oh, well, when you've lived 52 years, you have experienced some things.
That's right.
Of course, we lived back when you had to get up and watch cartoons on Saturday mornings.
That's right.
That was the only time during the week you could watch them.
Yep. Erna and Spotch said, we know there's Lori porn. Now,
I know that, but I'm talking about porn like that his wife didn't know he was watching, his church didn't know he was watching, his followers didn't know he was watching. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about breaking those kind of laws.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he was breaking all kinds of laws.
Bugs Bunny.
That's right.
Yes. All right. My favorite Bugs Bunny, I have to say this, is when they were doing that classical thing and Bugs Bunny had that hat on with the yellow braids and it. You know what I'm talking about? It's like really like a it's just classical music the whole way, but they were educating us.
Oh yeah.
They were giving us some culture.
Yes.
Through the Bugs Bunny.
I love it.
But are you born a psychopath or a sociopath? Do you think you are? Before I read it. Viking hat and wigs.
That's
yes,
right.
It was the best. Are you born? I'm asking you, Jenny.
I'm thinking. I mean, I feel like I don't think so, but it's just so hard to say because I don't know.
All right, well, let's find out.
Okay.
Researchers believe that genetics play a significant role in the development of the APD.
That's wrong.
Some researchers in the past have emphasized biology as the cause of psychopathy and environmental factors as a cause of sociopathy.
So, oh, really?
This suggests that psychopaths may be born that way, but sociopaths may be the product of their upbringing. What do you think about that?
I mean, I feel like, I don't know. That just...
Ted Bundy blamed porn in his last interview.
Really?
I mean, did somebody make him watch it? I mean, come on.
But, I mean, because think of psychopaths, what we think of psychopaths. I'm trying to think of what their upbringing would be.
Here's what I think, because I do it a lot.
Yes.
Here's what I think. I think that it's very difficult because you were not analyzing a person from birth, and we can't separate this is what you were born with, i.e. like 2 hands, 2 feet,
Right.
versus this was the upbringing that your parents fostered this in you. They didn't make you accountable for anything. They themselves suffer with it. So therefore you sort of have seen this environmental factor in your life.
I mean, that makes sense, but I feel like...
I'm saying we don't
maybe
really
you're,
know.
you
is
know,
what I'm
maybe
saying.
there are people that are born with tendencies, but if they were born into this family, they will do really, really bad things. But they're born into this family, maybe they won't do as, I don't know. I just feel like who you surround yourself with is going to affect how you are. That's just all there is to it.
Well, you know, when you're a child, you have no say in this.
You have no say in it, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't know. You know, I try to think of anybody, which I don't know a lot of psychopaths personally, or any that I know of personally. So I don't know, you know, what kind of upbringing they were brought up in.
Well, I have seen some. Casey Anthony. I mean, I'm going to say O.J. Simpson.
Well, that's true.
I mean, I'm going to say Ted Bundy.
So they were probably brought up.
I mean, I'm just going to say there's a lot of them that just, you know.
They were brought up in a good home, but they just...
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm just saying I've seen psychopaths. I'm saying I've seen psychopaths. And like...
But like I'm saying, not knowing what they grew up in.
Well, I'm just saying that when you see these court cases and you get an idea of how they were raised, or they tell you about an experience that they have in their life, well, what I'm saying is you have a person in your life who intersects at a moment where you could go right or left.
Yeah.
Most of us have a person helping us go right. Even though it may be hard for us, they're steering us, they're turning the horse this way.
Yeah.
Sometimes these people, like Scott Peterson, they said his mom and dad never got on to him about anything, thought he hung the moon and the stars. I don't know what that is. Thought he hung the moon and the stars. And, you know, sometimes I have to remind my son, you know, this line works on him. You are the S-O-N, not the S-U-N. We do not revolve around you. So, bring it on down. Bring it on down. You are not the sun in the sky. I know I probably kissed you like that and acted like that a little bit, but, you know, not to the point that I won't, you know, most people, even though it's hard to correct an 18-month-old or a 2-year-old, you will correct them because you know it's going to pay off later down the road.
Right. Exactly.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Okay. APD often coexists with other mental health conditions. That does not surprise us. Major depressive disorder, bipolar disorder, we've talked about all this, gambling disorder, sexual and paraphilic disorders, substance use disorders, somatic symptoms, hyperfocus on physical symptoms to the point of distress. I see that. And people hyperfocus. Sociopaths, they are genetic, biological, and environmental factors that contribute to a APD, including what is sometimes considered sociopath and psychopath. However, there may be relative differences in the influence of these factors. The exact cause of sociopath are not well understood, but it is believed that a person's environment, their childhood, and the way they were parented may play a larger role. I mean, come on, this, you know, I appreciate the DSM. The Bible tells us this. Raise up a child in the way that he should go, and he will go that way, for the most part.
That's right.
For the most part.
Exactly.
For example, children who experience physical, sexual, or emotional abuse are more likely to become sociopaths. Now, I do believe that, and I believe there is a lot of physical, sexual, and emotional abuse that goes on.
Yeah.
I would like to say way too much. I mean, there should be no sexual abuse.
That's right.
I'll say that right there. But emotional abuse, physical abuse, I see people, I mean, I want to jack slap them. I'm sorry to use that term, but I want to. Because I see people grab their little 3 or 4-year-old by the face. And I mean grab them by the face where the inside of their mouth is touching. Like, I got a vice grip on you. Okay? This is how they're holding their 3-year-old. And I want to walk up and say, would you like your boss to grab you like that? Do you want me to grab you like that? Just because they're littler than you does not mean that you get to do physical things to them that you would not tolerate. You would never, it's getting hot in here. You would never tolerate me grabbing your face like that.
Right.
So you should not grab a little person's face like that.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I see people do stuff like that all the time, or jerk them by the arms or whatever, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. Now, don't get me wrong. Do I think that you should train your child, correct your child? Yes, I do. I most certainly do. But I think that a lot of times people do it in
stress and anger.
Instead of getting themselves centered so that you can really teach your child. Because all you're teaching your child to do is hate you. Mm-hmm. And that when they grow up, this is what they can do to other people.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And I have no doubt, no excuse, but I have no doubt that the way Janice treated Lori imparted that onto her children. I have no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. Whether it was about weight or arguing or, whatever. We don't know all the details, but I'm just saying. So let's think about that. As a society, there should really be a class to become a parent. I'm just going to be honest with you about it.
That's true.
Okay, that's my soapbox. Okay. For example, children who experience physical, sexual, and emotional abuse are more likely to become sociopaths. However, not all sociopaths have been abused. So see, there you go. Children who are neglected or do not form bonds with caregivers early in life also have an increased risk of developing sociopathy. And I will tell you this, I know this, if you take a baby and you feed the baby, change the baby, have you ever heard of this? Clothe the baby, make sure all the things of the baby are taken care of. But you never love the baby or embrace the baby will die. Did you know this? Mm-mm. Yes. We need human contact. We need human interaction. And while I'm on it, I'm on another soapbox. Maybe many of you are grandparents. I'm going to tell you that looking at these video games for prolonged period of times, or when you're having a family function, and instead of the child interacting with these people who they never see because they're over there in their thing, even adults. Mm-hmm. I mean, literally, you're looking at a screen that ain't going to give you nothing back.
That's right. And I mean, I'm going to tell you,
you haven't done it like that.
Not like they do it, no. But I don't like it when I go to look something up or check a text message or anything like that, which I do it, but then I realize, this is because you're not being rude.
There's a fly in here, but I can't help it. Well, what I'm saying is, I know. Did you get it? It's okay. I know.
I got it on your
roof. That technology. These kids are super smart. I know that. Mm-hmm. I know that. I know that they are. But what they're developing in that, they're lacking. I mean severely. I mean anemic. They're lacking in the ability to pick up a phone and talk to somebody or socialize. Mm-hmm. And you should just be trying your best. I'm telling you, if you've got grandkids or children around you, yes, you can play the game, but you can only play the game for 30 minutes. Right. And I don't care if you're living or dying at that point in the game in 30 minutes. It's off, mm-hmm. and you need to come out here and play dodgeball or something. I mean, I'm being serious.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I said something. I was telling my little grandchildren, my grandmother lived I don't know how many miles, 15, 20 miles from, or I don't know, it might have been less than that. Maybe we'll say 10 or 15 miles from one of the cities that had kind of tall buildings, and we would climb a cedar tree and we could see the top of one of those buildings. And I was telling my grandchild about that, and just looking like, oh my gosh, because they don't climb trees like we used to climb trees, because that's all we did was play outside.
Played outside till the lights came on.
And I don't think any of them have climbed like to the top of a tree.
Now, I will say it's a different world. You can't just let your kids out there. I understand that.
That is true.
That is true. But you can go out there with them.
That's right. Stand up at the bottom of the tree and let them climb it. Yeah.
When you're at a table or you're around, like it's Christmas and there's family members around, that these, that's when you get that village experience, your whole village. It's just important.
It is.
We're not out here trying to create sociopaths and psychopaths.
No, we're not.
And they're not developing the correct...
Which may be why we're seeing more
and
of
they're
these
having
things.
lack of
empathy.
They're having lack of wanting to do anything in life.
That's right.
I'm being serious.
Yep. Me too.
It's not good. It's not good. Get down on the ground and play sorry with your kids.
That's right.
Or Monopoly.
That's exactly. Or Trouble. I love Trouble.
Oh, yeah. Trouble makes good noise.
Yes.
All of that is fun,
That's
right?
right.
All right. Back to psychopaths. Psychopaths is associated with a dysfunction in the area of the brain called amygdala. I don't know what that is, but anyway.
Amygdala, maybe. I don't know.
Which is responsible for the person's ability to react appropriately to potentially dangerous or threatening events. This part of the brain often helps regulate emotion. Changes to the structure and functions of certain parts of the brain, such as the changes to the structure, such as the prefrontal cortex, temporal cortex, or paralimbic structures, have been identified in people with psychopaths. However, environment also is believed to have played a role. What I'm going to say about this is when a child is developing or a young person is developing, they say their brain ain't really fully cooked till they're 23. That's going to be news to a lot of y'all, but that's what they say. 23 is when your brain is really fully cooked. You got it all that you're going to have. But when your prefrontal cortex, temporal cortex, and these other parts are developing, especially like if you're having a lot of abuse or, like we said, not having a lot of human interaction, that part of your brain may not be developing.
Right.
It may not be that you were born that way and there ain't nothing you can do about it.
Right.
I don't know. That's just what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, the way that they diagnose this, while psychopath and sociopaths are not formal mental health diagnosis, a healthcare provider will identify these characteristics as a person's pattern of behavior. They use the DSM-5. Children and adolescents who display early signs of APD are often first diagnosed with conduct disorder. You talked about that. A condition characterized by a pattern of violating other people's rights and social norms. That's why you don't want your child to be a bully. See, I don't know if y'all know, but what this is telling us is it's bringing it all full circle. We're doing the work with our children, and our parents did it with us. We just didn't know what we were really doing. But that's what we're doing. When you tell your child, no, you're not going to talk to her like that. Right. No, you're not going to make fun of her because she was born with one leg. No, you're not going to bully her. She's going to be your best friend.
Right.
It's all coming full circle.
You're teaching compassion and respect.
I am getting some enlightenment.
All of that.
Are you?
Yes, I am.
Behaviors in these children could include lying and stealing, aggression toward people and animals, destruction of property, and serious violation rules. And of course, there's no real treatment. There's no medication. Psychotherapy may be recommended for these individuals. Medication may improve symptoms, but it's more like the symptoms of depression and things like that. So they do give them sometimes there's no medication that treats it. However, there's drugs to treat other conditions such as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and mood disorders. So they may give them something like Adderall. They may give them antipsychotics, Risperdal or Risperdone. They may give them mood stabilizers like Lithium or Depakote. And in summary, there's often confusion about the distinction between the term sociopath, and there's often confusion about the distinction between the term sociopath and psychopath. Although characteristics of each are associated with the official diagnosis of APD, psychopath and sociopath have somewhat different traits. Also, there have been confusion historically between the two terms and how the conditions they represent are perceived. The term sociopath is not a clinical term, but is often used by people in the general public, while psychopath is an aspect of ASPD. Traditionally, people viewed as sociopaths are considered being angry and hostile, while psychopaths were being seen as having charm and manipulative personalities. Here we go. Is narcissism a symptom of sociopath? Narcissism, an overinflated view of one's importance, is a common symptom of sociopath, but not all narcissistic people are sociopaths. Is there a sociopath test? There's no formal test, but a variety of screening tools. Can sociopaths cry? Yes, sociopaths can cry. However, they don't display tears of empathy. If a sociopath cries, they are crying out of their own distress or manipulative tactics.
So has she ever cried? I've never seen her cry.
They did say she cried one time, but I think it's hard to know because she had a mask on. Her hair was all down. I don't know.
Okay.
And you know what I heard on when KJ and Crusher were talking? I have not finished that, but I got to finish that. They were talking that they think that Lori went to Tammy's wake or funeral home thing in Rexburg. I don't doubt it. I do not doubt it one bit.
I don't either. But
Do
that's
you?
terrible. I don't doubt it, but it's terrible. That is terrible.
It's starting to rain.
It is starting to rain, so hopefully our we won't lose signal. Hopefully we won't lose signal. So we're going to talk about a few of these medications that she just talked about.
We're just going to hit the highlights.
Just the highlights.
Because it's deep.
It is.
And this medicine don't really help this.
Mm-mm.
They're just trying to give them something to help.
Yeah, that is saying it's for just for symptoms that are associated with other things that might go along with this, like depression. Although she didn't act depressed at all. So Depakote is one of those, and Depakote affects chemicals in the body that may be involved in causing seizures. Depakote is used to treat various types of seizure disorders, but also it treats manic episodes related to bipolar disorder. So they may have been
I think it sometimes it makes people, the medical person, there got to be a medicine for it. Let's try this and see if that helps.
And it probably came about because they might have given it to people for seizures and then found out that it helped their depression in the process, and so, or their bipolar disorder. So that is the main use for Depakote. Do we want to hit anything else on that? Side effects. You want to talk about side effects in case she's on some of it?
Because what I think is people, because we're again of a normal mind and brain. When she's sitting there smiling in court, cutting up in court, we want to say, why is she doing that? There has to be a reason she's doing it.
Right.
Maybe it's the medicine she's on that's making her mood and her brain not be able to associate that she's in a very stressful situation.
Exactly.
But now I would like to say, Crusher K, shout out to her, and KJ were saying that Melanie P. Pulowski was saying how much her Aunt Lori just made every type of stressful situation seem like it was just nothing.
Well, we all saw her act like that when Charles was killed.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, that's not going to be selective to her in the moment. What I mean is, if she's like that, she's going to be like that, no matter if they're telling her she got a death sentence.
Well, like she's been this whole time, just sitting up there with her little library glasses on one time, and I mean, her
I know,
curls and
and I do
whatever.
have those
I
at
mean,
home.
mm.
I just,
I pop the lens out and let my grandkids keep them because I don't even want to put them on no more.
well, I don't mind wearing them if we're like really getting into something about the lore whore, but
Yeah.
you know, I don't want to advertise for her too much. Is what I mean.
No. So with Depakote, some of the side effects are loss of appetite.
She has lost weight.
Yes. Ongoing nausea, vomiting, swelling in the face, jaundice. She could have new or worsening symptoms like depression, anxiety, panic attacks, trouble sleeping. I mean, and feel impulsive. I think these are things she might have had before. Irritable, agitated, hostile, aggressive, restless, hyperactive, or have thoughts of suicide or hurting herself, which I don't see her doing that at all. Let's see. Blurred vision, we wouldn't notice any of that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see any that really we would have noticed on there. Just that nausea, vomiting, and all that. So that's Depakote.
Yeah, you go ahead and do lithium.
All right, and Lithium. Sorry, somebody's trying to call us.
It's KJ.
Oh, hey, KJ.
Oh gosh, hold on.
We don't know what's going on. Hold on a second.
KJ, are you
Of
there?
course, yeah, well, of course you know what's going on.
Okay, now first,
You've been down-
KJ, I want you to know we're on the live.
Well, you've been educating us all, have you not?
No, I know, but I'm saying I want you to realize that we are still live on this video, and when you're talking, they can hear you.
Of course.
Okay.
Of
As long
course.
as we're clear, I want us to be clear, all on the same page.
All right. Well, you know, that video has been deleted. Hint.
Yes.
So, what do you think?
About Lori.
No, about everything that we've discussed tonight.
Well, we're still on the live talking about it.
I know, but there is such a wealth of information
Yeah.
that you've shared with us all, and I'm just like, damn.
I mean, I'm thinking
You know the difference between a psychopath and and a
sociopath.
I mean,
You know what
come
we
on,
need?
man.
A whiteboard.
There's nothing.
That's right,
more
we need a
important than
whiteboard.
Learning.
That's
Learning
right.
is very important. Learning is like the thing. If you're not learning, you might as well just hang it up.
That's true.
That's true.
We agree with that for sure.
And I want to thank you, ladies, for your professionalism. I want to thank you so much for sharing what you go through day in and day out in your own careers and your life and the things that you do. You're real. You don't put on airs. You educate people. I mean, there are things you know that I will never not know unless you share it.
Well, thank you.
That's right. Thank you
We
so much.
appreciate that.
And I love real people, and I love y'all.
We love
We
you.
love you. Yes, we do.
And I'm going to tell you what, everyone that's on the live stream tonight, I'm just like blown away. Because you know what? If I can sense it, you can sense it. These ladies are rock stars. They're the best of the best. You're not going to find women like this in the world. We're talking North Carolina here.
Well, we love all of y'all, everybody that's watching, and I mean, we're overwhelmed by it, really.
We are overwhelmed by it.
We are. We
Because
appreciate it.
let me tell you something. We're talking about the east of the United States of America. We're over here in North Carolina, Tennessee, all these other lower states. Let's all take off to Florida. And I'm going to tell you right now, you ladies rock it. You are the North Carolina dream team. You are the bomb. And if anybody wants to argue with me about it, I'm going to tell them. You know what? I've met these ladies in person.
That's right.
I've spent time with them. I have talked with them about other things besides the case, this terrible, tragic case that we're covering.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all have been so gracious. Your families have been gracious. I'm so inspired that there are people out here in the world that have beautiful families, because, you know, you get so immersed in your own bubble in your own life that you don't realize that there are a lot of good people in the world.
There are.
And I just love you girls. And I'm going to tell you what, if you never, ever know this of anyone in the world, KJ, I'm telling you, KJ thinks y'all are all that and then some.
Thank you. That is so sweet.
That is so sweet.
You know, what you do is you educate, and you also follow this case and other cases.
Mm-hmm.
But the cool thing, I mean, this is my definition. You might say, KJ, you're wrong. But listen, y'all educate, y'all are like, you're actually being who you are, and that, you know, that relaxes the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all really have done a lot, in my view, to take your time and your effort, not only to show us the great friendship that y'all have together, but that you have this beautifulness that's unique, that KJ always says, you are the only you you're ever going to be.
Well,
You're gonna make us cry.
I know. I know.
That's so sweet.
I'm gonna leave y'all with these words, okay?
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you first, I love you and I love everyone here. I do.
We
Even
do
if you don't
too.
We
like
do
it.
too.
But yeah, I'm gonna leave these words with you, okay?
Okay.
Keep on looking.
I love that.
I do too, so much.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, KJ, thank you so
I know.
much.
Thank you so much.
I mean, I just love her. She
I
used to make me
know.
cry. And I'm glad you figured out how to answer the phone, because we didn't know what was. Somebody else called us, and then I thought it was them calling again. And then when you said it was KJ, I was like, oh, right.
Yes.
So, yes, thank you, KJ. We love you so much. Cannot wait to see you again,
That's right.
for sure.
It's coming up.
Soon. Yeah. So lithium, real quick,
Because that's a big one.
Yeah.
Lithium is a very strong antipsychotic.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly. And it's used to treat mania that is part of bipolar disorder. It's also used on a daily basis to reduce the frequency and severity of manic episodes.
Mhm.
Manic depressive patients experience severe mood changes ranging from an excited or manic state to depression or sadness. It just works to help stabilize the person's mood, acting on the central nervous system. And then let's just go over a few of those side effects.
Yeah, we're just going to hit the side effects. Which I don't think Lori's on these medicines. But I think if she was on these medicines, I'm just going to be honest with you, I think she would be sitting there her mood would be even keel. She wouldn't be able to cry or laugh. She wouldn't be able to, she would just be real even about it.
And she
in my opinion,
not like that at all. She's smiling for the camera. Confusion, poor memory, lack of awareness, fainting. I'm going to just read the ones that we could see.
Yes.
And trouble breathing, weight gain, which I don't think we've seen that at all. Yeah, the rest of this is stuff like dry mouth, drooling, eyes bulging out of the eye sockets. We've seen none of that.
Please get her on this. This is what we need to see. Read those again, Jenny.
Drooling, dry mouth.
Yes.
Eyeballs bulge out of the eye sockets. Ooh, flushed, dry skin. I mean, there are a lot of them. Large hive-like swelling on the face, eyelids, lips, tongue, throat, hands, feet, legs, genitals, wrinkled skin, unusual drowsiness, like you said, sluggishness. We have not seen any of this. Some weight loss, maybe uncontrolled movements, especially to the face, neck, and back.
Like a tick.
Yes,
had
uncontrolled
none of that.
jerking, twisting, movements of the hands.
She may think that's what she may want us to think that's what she's doing.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah.
She's of her own. She's making her own choices.
Yeah.
What about if you are overdose? Yeah, that's what I want to talk about.
Which one? Right here.
If you had too much lithium.
Yeah, be blurred vision, clumsiness or unsteadiness, convulsions, diarrhea, drowsiness, increase in the amount of urine, which we couldn't tell that, lack of coordination, muscle weakness, slurred speech, but she doesn't talk, not even to say not guilty.
That's right.
Trembling. So yeah, we haven't seen any of these.
So
Over this last one.
I'm going to keep these papers.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. When we get, I'm going to have a notebook. I'm going to get a notebook, Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get a notebook. And when we have the trial,
Oh yeah.
whenever that is, now, right now, we're holding out for January.
Yes, we are.
But it could not be. We don't know. We're not in control of that. But when we have it, we're going to be writing all this down. We're going to be making daily videos somehow, StreamYarding it.
Right.
Little TikToks in between commercials. I don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah,
I know.
that's a
I don't
good
know
idea.
what
We
we're
could
going
do
to do.
little TikToks.
Yeah,
Little
TikToks.
short little things.
Yeah,
We'll figure it out.
yeah.
I mean, we're going to have to do something because
I mean, it's going to be a lot.
it is.
I just cannot wait for them to be held accountable
Same here.
for what they've been
I
doing
think that's
and what they've been trying to hide from us. I just want it all out there. And,
them to pay for it.
well, yeah. I mean, it's not going to be actual payment. It's not going to be good enough.
Oh no.
No matter what it is, it ain't going to be enough.
Mm-mm.
It ain't going to be enough.
No,
But,
it will not. It will not.
I'm gonna finish listening to what I was listening to because all of this stuff just gets my brain just going.
Yep.
So anyway, we're gonna have to go because
Yeah.
we got to work tomorrow.
Yes.
Back at it.
Back at it.
Back at it.
So, we're going to see if we're going to tell everybody bye that's on here. Bye, KJ. Thank you for calling in. Thank you.
That's right. Mwah.
And bye, Linda, Candace's mom.
That's
Thank you
right.
for watching. Mary LaSour, Paula, Kim Daniel,
Tina
Reddington.
Artie.
Yes, Mary LaSour, Allison Umpleby.
Language of Horses. Kathy. So anyway, watch it on the rewatch, and again, it was a lot of information. So it was a lot of information for us, but I think I learned some things.
Yeah, me too, for sure. And Maggie.
And
Yes.
anyway,
Yes, I've learned a lot. Thank you.
and difficult research.
Yes.
Love always
Love-
wins.
Oh.
Yes, it does. It real does. True love never dies.
That's right.
True love never dies.
That's right.
Yes. So anyway, until next time.
Bye.